Good day all. My name is Kishore. As part of IIM Trichy course requirements, I am making an attempt to explain the impact of gold in Indian economics. As time given to me is short, I will focus on these main topics. What is the historical and cultural background for gold in India? Where does gold stand in Indian economics? A few numbers per se. Why is gold an issue for us? I will explain briefly also on the macroeconomics behind the trade in gold for India. And then, of course, I will discuss about various policies that we have for gold in India and from my personal point of view, what more can be done. We Indians have been with gold since ages. We consider this as a symbol of purity. It is a symbol of everything auspicious, wealth, luck. It's a symbol of goddess. It is a symbol of status and much more. At the back of everything, we Indians consider gold to be the ultimate savings which one can turn into in case of emergencies. Most Indians buy gold during occasions, more specifically weddings, birthdays, and festivals. These days, though, many buy gold as investments as it is one of the commodity that rarely gets depreciated, or at least that is the belief. There is also another investment which competes with gold in this aspect, and that is land. However, the transactions on gold purchase is much less complicated than transactions on land. So normally people go for buying gold as an investment. In terms of numbers, these days, on behalf of Government of India, RBI has around 640 tons of gold as reserve. And now this corresponds to almost 6% of the total forex reserves we have. That amounts to almost 40 billion USD. Now, according to the Gold Council, World Gold Council, we have supposedly, that is in India, supposedly we have around 25,000 tons of gold in household. Though it is only a rough estimate because there is no real concrete way to predict the amount of gold held in individual households because there was not much of documentation earlier. Indians believe at an very individual level that gold investment is the safest investment, and that stems from the fact that so far as little or very less depreciation occur over long term. And added to that is the status and jewelry aspect that comes with gold. Interesting study by the World Council says that in India, the rural ownership of gold is more than the urban ownership. Now, why is this an issue? First is the huge imports that we make for our gold. We do not have any big in-house production for the source of gold. The gold production that we have in Kolar or other gold fields in India, they don't cover anything close to our demand, which means that almost all our gold is imported. Then, of course, the gold that is bought by our households are generally stuck in safes and lockers. There is no real rotation of this commodity within our economy. So what happens? Well, from a macroeconomic perspective, we run into what we call as the current account deficits. That is when we import gold, it increases the CAD. CAD is basically the difference between imports and exports. Also, we need US dollars to buy gold. Then this increases the demand for dollars and automatically it affects the exchange rates. Now, when we affect the exchange rate, it also means that we are affecting the availability of money for other key activities of growth. We do need a lot of imports for our growth in general for a country. Now, as this commodity that is gold that is not getting circulated as such, okay, there is a bigger opportunity lost on account of gold, as the money that is spent on this gold could have been put to a better use somewhere else. Okay, now how does it make sense? Let's say to put it in perspective. Okay, let's say the 25,000 tons of gold that we have in our household, the so-called in the personal households of private individuals in our country, even if 1% of it, if the government is able to get the people to come out and cash it, okay, it can bring out almost, let's say, 20 to 25 billion US dollars. Now, that if you are to assume a simple multiplier of 6 times, which is typically the rate at which a country like India works with, okay, it can bring out almost $100 billion plus in the circulation in the economy. Now, that can actually make or break for many people inside our country. It could be like pulling people out of poverty line and bringing them up. It's huge. We just still don't understand the importance of gold that we have in our house. There have been a lot of policies with respect to gold in the past, and as with the history perspective of any policy in fiscal or monetary angle in the past, the policies on gold too has had its reasons when they were implemented. Looking at where we were during independence and where we are now, we can say now safely that it appears we are on the right track. We have what the Gold Council calls the period of transparency right now. I wish to specifically talk about the gold monetizing scheme and the sovereign gold bond scheme that is presently on. And with that, we will be closing this talk. By 2015, there was a renewed push to revive and invigorate the existing initiatives in gold. The intention, of course, was to make them more effective. The aim was not just to mobilize the gold held in household, but also to put the gold for productive use. Long-term intention, of course, was to get the gold that are getting monetized to substitute the gold that we are importing from outside. I mean, when we reach the right quantity, that is. I end the talk by explaining about the gold deposit scheme and the sovereign gold bond scheme that we are right now in vogue right now in our country. Okay. Gold deposit scheme in its present refurbished form has a lot of interesting features. Generally, when a family buys gold as jewelry, okay, they use it for let's say a couple of years till the design is viewed, and then it ends up in a locker for years together. After a lot of years, say 5 or 6 years or even more in some cases, it is recycled in jewelry shops for newer design. All this while, let's say for 5, 6 or even more or even decades together, it is not giving any value for that money that has been used for buying it, and additionally incurring loss in cost of in the form of cost for lockers. The gold deposit scheme asks the family to hand over this gold, okay, after the first 2 years or whatever they feel is the productive life of that particular gold, in this particular case 2 years, to the government. The government then provides them with a bond and then promises them to give interest and gives them back the gold whenever they ask for it, okay, for them to renew them with new jewelry whenever they feel like. Okay, as I see, this is full of advantages for both the customers as well as the government. Similar scheme is for the sovereign gold bond scheme. It is similar in the sense that when you feel like investing in gold, you don't have to go and buy actual gold. You buy this sovereign gold bond. Okay, you get all the characteristic of physical gold except that it is virtual. Plus, you get the interest on the money that you have that particular gold is fetching. Okay. So according to me, these policies are really good and people need to understand the impact and the necessity of these policies. This policy needs massive awareness programs which should involve ad campaigns to convince people to have trust in this particular government policy. There should be adequate interfaces in banks and NBFCs. Even we should try to include the dwellers and refiners of gold who need to be roped in to make this program successful. After all, this is for the country. There can be a lot more incentives like higher interest rates. There can be thought of tax exemptions for these schemes to make it more attractive. Overall, I feel the government is going on the right track to encourage people to start benefiting from these gold policies and programs, and in a way supporting the overall growth of our economy from an individual level. I hope I have been able to give you a brief insight on the impact of this shining metal in India. Thank you for your time.